It's the 18th of the month. You got paid on the 15th. You checked your account, and the number looked fine. Better than fine, actually. There was enough there to feel normal. Maybe even a little bit of breathing room. Now it's the 18th. You open the app again. You're not sure why you're checking. You haven't bought anything big. No holiday. No emergency. No stupid impulse purchase you'd regret. And the number is already smaller. Noticeably smaller. You do the maths in your head. Payday was 3 days ago. You look at the transactions. Direct debit. Direct debit. A supermarket. The gym. A direct debit you don't immediately recognize. It takes you a moment. The broadband. Of course. The electricity. And you think, where does it go? Not in a panicked way. In the specific, exhausting, familiar way that British adults think this thought. Quietly, alone, looking at their phone. Every single month. That question is what this video is about. Let's just be honest about what your money is actually doing. You earn a wage. It arrives in your account. And almost immediately, it starts leaving. Council tax. If you're in Band D in England, that's around £2,280 a year. About £190 a month. Just to live in the house you already live in. Energy. Your direct debit probably went up again. If you're a typical household, you're paying around £1,640 a year. Though it depends on usage and insulation, which, if you're renting, you have very little control over. Broadband. Car insurance, which somehow went up this year, despite you having made no claims, despite you getting a year older, despite nothing changing. Water rates. TV license. Your phone contract. The streaming services. You have 3, maybe 4. You're not entirely sure. The council tax that comes out on the 1st. The energy that comes out on the 14th. The gym membership you keep because it was cheaper to stay than cancel, and the psychological logic of that still holds, even though you went twice in March. None of that is irresponsible. Not one item on that list is a luxury. These are the fixed costs of existing as an adult in modern Britain. Then there's the irregular stuff that doesn't feel like a bill because it doesn't have a direct debit. The car service, the boiler check, new shoes for work, the birthday present for someone in April you completely forgot about until April the 3rd, the school trip, the dentist, and the specific, sinking feeling when the dentist says you'll want to come back for that dot. These things come out of the same account as your lunch, your savings, your emergency fund, and whatever you were vaguely planning to do with the money this month. One account, everything in it, no structure. And at the end of the month, you look at the number and you feel. Whatever that feeling is, you know the feeling. So here's the question I want to answer today. Is it possible, genuinely possible, to earn a decent British salary, be reasonably careful with money, not be reckless or irresponsible, and still find yourself with almost no savings, no investment, no financial cushion? Not because of a crisis, not because of debt, just because of the way the money is structured. Or rather, because it isn't structured at all. The answer is yes. And I'd argue it describes the majority of working households in this country. And the reason isn't character. It isn't discipline. It isn't that you need to stop buying coffee or cancel Netflix. It's architecture. The way most British adults manage their money, one account, all of it mixed together, is structurally broken, not morally broken, not lazily broken, structurally, built to fail. That's what we're going to look at today. Let me give you some numbers, because when you see them side by side, something clicks. Around 1 in 4 British adults cannot cover an unexpected expense of £850. Just sit with that for a second. 1 in 4. That is not a fringe statistic about people in extreme poverty. The ONS measured this in early 2026. It captures working households, people with jobs, incomes, bills they pay. A quarter of them would not be able to absorb an £850 shock. A boiler, a car repair, a dental bill. That's not a savings problem. That's a structural problem. The average British household carries around £8,600 in unsecured debt. Credit cards, personal loans, overdrafts, buy now, pay later. That's from Money Charity's March 2026 figures. Not the mortgage. Just the consumer debt sitting on top of everything else. And the average credit card balance in this country, if you carry one, takes 27 years and 9 months to clear if you only make the minimum payment. Nearly 3 decades. You will pay back almost 3 times what you originally borrowed. Now here's the one that really gets me. Real wage growth in Britain, meaning wage growth after inflation, is forecast by the Resolution Foundation to average 0.1% per year between 2026 and 2029. 0.1% per year. That means if you earn £35,000 now, your real spending power in 2029 will be approximately £35,100 in 3 years. If everything goes according to forecast, you are not going to earn your way out of this. A pay rise, if you get one, will mostly be absorbed by inflation, frozen tax thresholds, and rising fixed costs. The only lever you actually control is what happens to the money after it arrives. And that's where the architecture matters. Here's the illusion most people are living with, and I want to name it precisely. When you get paid, your account goes up. And for a few days, maybe a week, the number looks healthy. It looks like you have money. You don't. What you have is next month's bills sitting in an account with no label on it. That £2,400 sitting in your current account on the 16th. About £800 of it is already spoken for. Council tax, energy, broadband, the car insurance that comes out on the 22nd, the phone contract, the water bill, the rent or mortgage. But because it's all in one account, your brain cannot tell the difference between money you have and money you're merely holding on behalf of your future bills. So what happens? You spend in the middle of the month based on how the account looks, not how much you actually have available. Because there's no other signal. There's just a number. And the number, for a week or so, looks fine. Then the direct debits hit. Then payday feels further away than it should. Then the end of the month is tight. And you tell yourself you need to be more disciplined. But discipline is not the solution to an architecture problem. If your house had no rooms, just one open space for sleeping, cooking, working, and storing everything you own, the problem wouldn't be that you're disorganized. The problem would be that the house has no rooms. Your bank account is that house. Let me tell you what's actually happening underneath the surface, not the theory. The thing you've probably experienced yourself and never had a name for. You get paid. The account goes up. For a few days, you feel okay. Maybe even generous. You pick up the bill at dinner. You buy the slightly nicer coffee. Not extravagantly. Just proportional to how the account looks. Then on the 7th or 8th, the big direct debits hit. And the account drops by more than you expected because you'd half forgotten the car insurance was this month. And suddenly you're in the last third of your money with most of the month still to go. That's not carelessness. That's not poor character. That's what happens when all of your money lives in the same place. Income, bills, savings, spending, emergency fund, everything. With no separation and no labels. Your brain cannot track 18 future commitments and subtract them from a single number in real time. Nobody's can. The second problem is what I call the savings disappearance problem. And almost everyone I've ever spoken to about this has done exactly this: spend through the month, see what's left, and if there's anything there, transfer it to savings. That's the worst possible system. Not because your intention is wrong, because the architecture guarantees failure. Costs. However carefully you try to manage them, have a way of expanding to fill whatever money is available. Economists have a name for this. I won't use it. You already know what I mean. The money gets spent. The third problem is the emergency fund that isn't. If your emergency fund lives in the same account as your current spending, it doesn't really exist. It's just money. When something urgent comes up, and something urgent always comes up, there's no psychological barrier, no visible line to cross. You're just spending money. and it's gone. And the fourth, and this is the one with the longest tail, is that when everything is mixed together, investing never starts. Because to invest, you need surplus. And to know your surplus, you need to see it clearly. And with one account, you never do. So the decision to invest gets pushed to next month, to when things settle down, to when there's more clarity. There is never more clarity, not from one account. The 6-account system is simply the answer to all 4 of those problems. One structure, set up once, that removes each of them. Let me show you what it looks like. Meet Priya. She's 31. She lives in Birmingham. She teaches English. Year 9 and 10, the ones who've decided they're too cool to care, but still read the first 2 chapters of whatever you put in front of them. She earns £34,800 gross. Her partner Marcus earns similar. About £36,000 as a project coordinator. Between them, that's £70,800 a year. By most British standards, that's enough. More than enough. 3 years ago, when Priya and Marcus moved in together, Priya opened a savings account. She named it Emergency Fund. She transferred £200 into it the day she opened it, felt genuinely proud of herself, and then didn't touch it, or add to it, for 4 months. Then the boiler went. The repair was £340. She moved the £200 across from the emergency fund, made up the rest from her current account, and told herself she'd rebuild it when things were calmer. In 3 years, she has rebuilt it to £160. She's also got a lease she opened at 29. She put £200 in. It's still £200. Every few months she thinks, I really should deal with that. She has not dealt with it. And last November, she spent £189 on a personal finance course from someone on Instagram who seemed credible. She watched Module 1. The course is still in her inbox. She thinks about it slightly resentfully whenever she sees a budgeting video. Priya is not reckless. She knows, roughly, what she spends. She's not buying things she can't afford. She tracked her spending for 2 months last year using an app she downloaded, until the app kept asking her to upgrade, and she deleted it. But here's what her money currently does. On the 25th of each month, her salary arrives. £2,230 after tax, national insurance, student loan, and pension. It goes into her current account. She immediately transfers her half of the rent, £600. Marcus transfers his share to her for the energy direct debit. For the next few days, the account looks fine. She buys groceries, goes for coffee with a colleague, pays for a friend's birthday dinner, tops up her oyster when she visits London for the day. Then the council tax comes out. Then the broadband, the water, her phone, the gym, the TV license, a direct debit she initially doesn't recognize. It's the cloud storage. Of course. By the 10th of the following month, she has about £250 left. Payday is still 2 weeks away. She transfers £50 to savings. Sometimes she transfers it back. Priya does not have a money problem. She has a money architecture problem. She cannot see her surplus because it's buried inside a single number that includes her bills money, her spending money, her savings, and the £110 Marcus transferred last Tuesday that technically isn't hers. The system she needs isn't complicated. It doesn't require a spreadsheet. It doesn't require her to track every purchase. It doesn't require her to stop having a life. It requires 6 accounts. Here's what they are. Account 1. Income account. The account your salary hits. You do not spend from this account. Nothing is set up here except your salary coming in and your standing orders going out. It is purely a distribution point, a sorting office, not a wallet. Account 2. Bills account. Every fixed direct debit runs from here. Rent or mortgage, council tax, energy, broadband, car insurance, phone, water, TV license, subscriptions. Once a month, you transfer the exact total into this account. You never need to think about it again. These bills are no longer your problem. They run themselves. Account 3. Spending account. This is your life. Food, clothes, meals out, the birthday present, everything discretionary. You receive a weekly transfer. When it's gone, the week's gone. When it's not gone, you're ahead. Simple signal. No tracking app required. Account 4. Emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of essential costs. Sits in a savings account. Ideally one paying competitive interest. This is not for car tires. It is not for Christmas. It is not for a spontaneous Ryanair weekend when you had a bad week. It is for the boiler. It is so that one bad thing does not become 2 bad things. Account 5. Short-term goals. The holiday. The car service fund. The new laptop. Christmas. Because Christmas is not a surprise. It happens every year in December, and yet somehow it still arrives like an ambush. Irregular but foreseeable costs. A small regular transfer, calculated by dividing the annual cost by 12. Account 6. Long-term wealth. Lisa. Pension top-up. This is the account that does the compounding. This is the one that turns time into money. Quietly, automatically, whether or not you're thinking about it. This is the account that the 45-year-old version of you will care about most. 6 accounts. Set up once. Run on standing orders from your income account. Automatic. Let's put Priya's actual numbers on this. Gross salary, £34,800. Income tax and national insurance, approximately £6,200. Student loan. Plan 2, approximately £660 a year. £55 a month. The one most people in their 30s forget to factor in every single time. Pension contribution at 5%, £1,740 a year. But she gets a 23% employer contribution under the teacher's pension scheme, so her retirement provision is significant even on this salary. Take home after all deductions, approximately £2,230 per month. Now her fixed costs. Half the rent, £600. Half the council tax, roughly £95. Energy, her share, £70. Broadband, phone, water, TV license, gym, about £135 total. Total monthly fixed bills, £900, which means Priya's true monthly surplus, the money that actually belongs to her decisions, is £1,330. Write that down, £1,330, not £2,230, not whatever's in her account after 3 days, £1,330. That is Priya's actual financial resource. Bills account £900. Transfers automatically on payday. Done. These bills no longer require a single second of her mental energy. Spending account £560, split weekly. £140 arrives on Monday morning. That's her life budget. When she's deciding whether to order a takeaway on Thursday, she doesn't look at her main account. She looks at this number. Simple. Emergency fund £70 a month to a savings account paying 4.5% interest. 12 months, £840 plus interest. 2 years. She has a real cushion. The boiler doesn't win this time. Short-term goals £70. In a year, that's £840. That's a holiday that doesn't go on a credit card. That's a car service that doesn't come as a surprise. Long-term wealth £75 into a stocks and shares ISA. Small right now. But this is the account that earns while she sleeps. This is the account that 55-year-old Priya will write an embarrassingly sentimental message about. That leaves approximately £285 as a float in her income account. A buffer for bills that vary, for the month that costs a little more. Not saved. Not spent. Held. Let's be honest. £75 a month into an ISA isn't going to retire Priya at 40. That's not the point. The point is this: for the first time in her adult financial life, Priya knows. Clearly, without calculation, without opening a spreadsheet, exactly how much she has to spend on her life. £140 per week. Visible. Separate. Real. And when she sees the money in her short-term goals account growing, she stops dipping into it for things that aren't goals. Because it has a name. It has a purpose. It's not just money sitting there. It's the trip to Lisbon. You don't spend the trip to Lisbon on a Thursday takeaway. Path A. The default. Priya keeps one account. She means to save more. She transfers £50 most months. Sometimes more, sometimes nothing. She never quite builds the emergency fund because something always comes up. The boiler. The car. A month where the bills just seemed bigger than they should have been. At the end of 3 years, she and Marcus have maybe £2,000 in savings between them. Still no ISA with anything in it. Still no investment. Still no clear picture of what her month actually costs. End of year 3. A letter arrives. The landlord is putting the rent up by £175 a month, and Priya has 60 days to either absorb it or move. She doesn't have a cushion for that. She never had time to build one. Path B, the system. Priya sets up 6 accounts this weekend. It takes about 2 hours. 1 to open extra savings accounts, 1 to set up the standing orders. Month 1, the spending account runs slightly short. She overestimated how far £140 goes. She adjusts to £130 and bumps the float. Month 3, she realizes she hasn't checked her current account balance anxiously in 3 weeks. She looks at her spending account instead. That's the only number that matters for her daily decisions. The rest runs itself. End of year 1, emergency fund £840. Short-term goals £840. She used £300 for a long weekend in Edinburgh and still had money left over. ISA balance £900, growing. End of year 3, emergency fund fully funded at 3 months of essential costs. Just over £2,700. Short-term goals has covered the car service twice and 1 proper holiday. ISA, approximately £3,000. The rent increase letter arrives. £175 a month. Priya adjusts her standing orders. The bills account goes up. The spending account comes down slightly. She has to skip a month on the short-term goals account while she recalibrates. She handles it. Because she can see the architecture. She knows which lever to pull. She is not 1 bad month away from overdraft. That's what financial security actually looks like in Britain in 2026. Not passive income. Not a property portfolio. Not a side hustle. The ability to absorb the normal shocks of a normal life without going backwards. 1 structure. 6 accounts. 2 hours to set up. And then it just runs. Here's the thing I want to leave you with. We talk about saving in Britain like it's a character trait. Like some people are savers and some people aren't. Like the person with a healthy emergency fund has better values, more willpower, a tidier soul. That framing is wrong. And I think it's deliberately wrong. It keeps the focus on individual behavior rather than on the design of the system. Saving is not about willpower. It is about architecture. The person with the 6 account system doesn't resist spending from their emergency fund. They can't easily spend from it because it's in a separate account, and it isn't the number they're looking at when they're at Tesco. The person who invests £75 a month doesn't make a heroic daily choice to invest. The standing order goes out on the 26th, and they never have to decide. The system removes the decision. And when you remove the decision, you remove the failure. You were not born disciplined or undisciplined about money. You were handed a single bank account and told to get on with it. The system was broken, not you. Now you know there's another way. 1 rule. 6 words. Your bills account is not your money. That is the most important reframe in personal finance that no one ever says out loud. When your salary arrives, a chunk of it, in Priya's case £900, already belongs to the system, to the direct debits, to the commitments you've already made. That money is not available to you. It never was. Once you separate it physically, once it lives in a different account with a different name, your brain stops counting it. And the number that remains is your actual resource, your real money. The one your decisions should be based on. Your bills account is not your money. Write it somewhere. Send it to someone who needs to hear it. I want to know what your real monthly surplus looks like. Not the theoretical one. Not what a budget spreadsheet says it should be. The actual number. After the bills, after the direct debits, after all the things you forgot to include the last time you tried to work this out. Tell me in the comments. The actual number. No judgment. This channel doesn't do judgment. I read all of them. Every one. And I use them to decide what the next video covers.